Okay, so now I'm admitted to the hospital and I'm on this room. I just remember it being really big, and now I'm having a really hard time breathing. I've been asthmatic my whole life. So I'm like, bringing the nurse. I'm like, I'm having a hard time breathing. Not to mention, my fevers are spiking as high as 102. And as an adult, because I was 47 at the time, that is very dangerous to have fevers that high for as long now as I've been having them without them breaking at all. And I'm like, can I get a breathing treatment? And they're like, oh, we don't do those anymore. It's inhalers. I'm like, what? Why? And then they explain, I mean, the explanation makes sense because COVID can become aerosol. So now the best practice is inhalers. I'm like, okay, fine. We try the inhalers. They're not helping. And I am just getting worse. And the breathing now is getting to the point where I feel like I am drowning. And I guess I was being a little bit difficult because I was like, I keep ringing them. And they're like, what would you do? I'm like, get me a breathing treatment, get me on some steroids, like something. So they finally concede, they give me a breathing treatment. It really doesn't help. And once again, I think I might have been on this floor for like a day. And I finally get to the point where I'm like, I can't take this anymore. You got to do something. So they decide to bring me to get a CAT scan. They think that I might have a blood clot. And then after the CAT scan, I'm brought up to the ICU. And luckily, I did not have a blood clot, but there was still, the blood work had not come back yet to figure out why I'm septic. And I just remember the one thing they were able to determine, though, is I was filled with fluid, which is why I felt like I was drowning. And my face is super puffy. I mean, I was so puffy. So they started giving me diuretics and then doing antibiotics. And I believe it was the next day, the doctor comes in and says to me, now I'm getting to the point where it's hard for me to talk. I can barely keep my eyes open. And he says to me, do you have a family member or someone that can be with you? I have news to tell you. And somehow I managed to pull out my phone, dial my boyfriend, handed the phone to the doctor. And I don't really remember what the doctor said, but the long and short of it was, the first culture came back that I had a fungus. It was a fungus that was infecting my blood. This fungus was very fast moving. There was a very high mortality rate, and there was pretty much no way of figuring out how this fungus got into my body.